Okay, today we're going to talk about epoxy resin casting and using uh, molds intended for candy. And I've got 4 examples here of stars and some skeletons, cones, and some swirl cones. I've used these cone style designs in the past as embellishments for yo-yos. Just an idea of what they look like. There's a cone shape with a swirl in it. And another example of a cone shape without a swirl. And so we're going to talk about how to use these candy molds with epoxy resin and how to cast in them. So to get started, we're going to use these molds right here. These are all silicone molds, so the epoxy resin is not going to stick to it, at least not permanently. And I'll put these away. And we're going to pour some epoxy resin into this mold and color it with some interesting colors and a couple of different techniques. One of the techniques I'm going to show today is using mica powder. It comes in different colors, very fine powder. And the other is using alcohol ink. Alcohol ink comes in basically 2 varieties. One is just a plain alcohol ink with different colors, and this is a pearl version of alcohol ink. They're all translucent or semi-transparent, and will vary in the degree of transparency based on how much of the ink that you use. So we're going to try both of those techniques today and see how that goes. So I've got some epoxy resin here, 2-part resin and hardener. And we're going to put equal amounts into this measured cup. And we'll pour out this first part. And then as carefully as possible, try to match that amount with this second compound. This is the hardener. So we got as much as possible a exact 50-50 mix. Okay, that should do the trick. Now, we're going to stir this for a while. I'll put it on fast forward to not bore you with this, but we're going to stir for 3 minutes. This is the Art and Glow brand of epoxy resin. It's got a working time of about 20-25 minutes. It'll start to harden up and get molasses-like any time longer than that. So you got a little time to work with it. So what I'm going to do first now is using a little swab. It looks like cotton, but it's not a regular cotton swab. There's no material that's going to come off and contaminate your work. And I'm going to choose a interesting color. A couple of different colors. First one I'm going to use is orange. And we're going to take this swab and dunk it in there, and we're going to coat the inside of this silicone mold. And it sticks to the mold pretty well. You don't have to glue it in there or get all concerned about it. Just give it a good solid coating. I'm going to make 2 molds with this orange color. And again, this is mica powder that I'm using. You can buy it a number of places. If you go to Amazon and search for mica powder, you'll find literally hundreds. of different colors and manufacturers and suppliers of this stuff. It's very common. You can probably pick it up at Michael's or Hobby Lobby as well. And when I pour the resin in, it's going to stick to this mica powder and not stick to the mold. And it'll pick up the color of the mica powder, and it will look something like what we got here with this little skull. We see the green and so forth. This is a pearl version of the mica powder. And you can put all kind of really cool designs and color embellishments on these different things, different moldings. And they're all really, really neat too. I'll be using these as embellishments for yo-yos. Okay, so to finish this up, get it all stirred in there and adhering to the sides. And excuse me, I'm going to blow the excess out of here. Okay, so you can see that it's pretty well stuck on there. And we'll put this away. All right, back to the resin. Now first I'm going to pour some of this clear resin into a couple of these molds that don't have the mica powder in it. And we'll come back and add some alcohol ink to give it some interesting color, and maybe some swirl effects. I'll try to get these the same height so that I can use them on either side or a matching pair on the yo-yo I'm going to use them for. Okay, so we've got our clear resin in here. I'm going to choose a color now. I think I'll go with this green slime, sublime, sublime alcohol pearl. Shake it up, get a little marble in there like a spray can, so you can get the content of the pearl material mixed in with the coloring. All right. I'll put a little bit in there, a little bit in there, one more drop. There you go. And you can watch it kind of swirl around and do its thing. Very interesting how it works. And I'll use a toothpick and gonna shove it in there and swirl it around a little bit. Again, trying to drag some of that alcohol ink down into the clear so that it doesn't all just sit on the top. If you do this aggressively or too much, then it will just turn your entire casting into the color of the ink, and you won't get any of the swirl effects. Okay, so that should be enough of that. Now, I'm going to put some black colorant in this clear epoxy resin. And I've got this highly concentrated acrylic coloring. And I'm just going to put a couple of drops in it and then use that for this mica powder version. You see, I've got a little bit of area where it wasn't coated. I'll do a little touch up. Okay. All right, so put about 3 drops in this resin. And that should make it completely opaque. Stir it up. Since the resin is already blended, you don't need to stir much. Just for a few seconds, scrape it off the walls and get it well mixed. Okay. Now we're going to pour this in with the mica powder. Try to get the height the same. And by the way, if you end up trying to get a matched pair and one ends up being a little taller than the other, you can sand these. You just put it on a piece of sandpaper and sand the flat part that's facing it. Just sand it so that you get the one that's taller than the other the same height. All right, so we're going to let this set for 24 hours, and I'll be back to see you tomorrow. Okay, boys and girls, it's time for the big reveal. This is the mica. If you remember, it was orange color. It looks more gold than orange. Get a pair of those. And this was the alcohol ink. That looks really cool. Clear from the side and green from the top. Very nice. See if we got a matching pair. Oh yeah. Very nice indeed. Well, there you go. Success.